And good morning again from Essen. Today is the second day for me at the Techno Classica, and this is now the second part of my Techno Classica coverage. And today I'm gonna show you everything I forgot to show you in the first video. And we start with the almost private sale section here in hall number 4. So what do we have here? Let's start with these three Mercedeses. We have a C123 series CE, the coupe version of the 123 series, and then we have this lovely pre-merger 280 AMG. And that car just looks the part, metallic blue paint, color-coded Penta alloys. Blacked out grille because AMG pre-merger. The interior looks absolutely stunning. It's like beige brownish leather, and there you go. It's as much pre-merger AMG as possible. And right beside that car there we have a 124 series AMG. Let's take a look around. So it follows the same recipe, blacked out grille, lovely body kit, AMG wheels, very cool car. So here we have two examples of Volkswagen's finest. We have two of them, and both are rare cars. This is the W12 engined version, and there we have, and I think it's even rarer, the V6 R32 LM. And you know, I drove a Phaeton some weeks ago, and guys, I was absolutely impressed by all the quality. I think these are fantastic cars. Not built in Wolfsburg. There was a factory made especially for the Phaeton in Dresden in East Germany. And Volkswagen had that idea because there was the S-Class, the W140, and Volkswagen wanted to catch some fish at the same category of cars. And this, by the way, is a lovely example. It is almost perfectly spec'd. And you know, I say almost. Let's talk about the color. I think it's beryl. These are my favorite wheels of all the early pre-facelift W140. Orange indicators. And I say almost because unfortunately we have a leather interior. And we all know, go for velour because it is much, much nicer. Glass sunroof. I do like it. What engine is in it? It is I can't tell you. It's a S280. I didn't know that the S280 was already available before the facelift came. So that is interesting. And a very, very interesting combination of engine, color, spec. Very, very, very nice. By the way, it is more packed than it was yesterday. Here we have a Renault Alpine. This is the 310S, and it has a body kit, and it has massive alloys. Just have a look at the wheels. Jesus Christ. We have a Cinquecento, a traction avant. But let's go to this lovely Alfa Romeo. I love the wheels. These look brilliant. And this looks far better as the fixed roof coupe. We have a lovely early W124 series. I think this is a great color for it. It's brown inside. Unfortunately, it got a newer style steering wheel. And we do have something that could count as a heck blender. I'm talking about this. So this is more like a extension. So it's a W124 series with extensions. We do not need this, right? So buy this car and remove it. What else? S124, W126, and this is an SEL. I can't tell you what engine is in it. It's a nice bag and it's a 500. And I did drove a 500 SE some weeks ago. What a nice engine. Let's go to the Golfs. So 50 years of Golf, and this is the display to have a party, including Giugiaro's finest. Some interesting examples over here. This is a 78 GTI, and this is another even earlier, because of some of the details are already different, GTI. But let's head over to a Golf that is very, very special to me, and that is this one. You might have seen this. This is the sign that says that this Golf was in the GDR, in the east part of Germany before the fall of the wall. Cars in East Germany were a special thing, because usually you have to wait many, many years until you finally got your two-stroke Trabant or Wartburg or four-stroke Ladas, Skodas, what else? But people wanted more, so Volkswagen exported 10,000 Golfs to East Germany in a special spec. Only a few colors were available. Two-door and four-door models were available. I think there was a diesel option, but only for a five-door version. So this is absolutely brilliant. There's a new book in Germany just about the Volkswagen relations to the GDR. Then we have a very, very early Golf LS automatic, and this is one of the first batch of Golfs. When you check the rear plate, it has this little line here. This is the so-called swallowtail Golf. These were very, very prone to rust, and that's why only a few of these very, very early swallowtail Golfs have survived. I think the Golf is a brilliant looking car, designed by none other than Giorgio Giugiaro. So this is also a later one. As you can see, there are different sorts of bumpers. This is the chrome one, this is a later one, this is a 79, and the GDR Golf is a 78. So 1 year later, and it already looked different. Never seen these sort of things on the A-pillars on a Golf. We have two convertibles, and the Golf convertible had a very, very long life. So this is the GLS from 1979. So this is a very early Golf convertible, built by Karmann in Osnabrück. There's the Karmann badge. Karmann built many, many interesting cars. The Scirocco, I guess. They built cars for Ford. I think the XR4i Sierra was made at Karmann. So anyway, this is a early one, and just have a look at this one. This is from 1992, so many, many years later. And they look different in many details. Just have a look at this posh leather interior. And There we have good old cloth and the usual two-spoke Golf steering wheel. Let's go to another car that was made by Gandini. So when you've seen my first video, there were already cars designed by Marcello Gandini, who sadly passed away some weeks ago. And one Marcello Gandini design was this, the Audi 50 that became the Volkswagen Polo Mark I. So you could say that this is the predecessor for the Audi A2, if you will. The cars are almost the same, as you can see here. I've seen this has washer jets, so this is maybe started life on the Scandinavian market. Let's take a look around. Lovely green color, freshly restored, and there's the Audi 50 GL badge. So we are not talking poverty spec, whatever that means on a very early Audi 50. And as you can see, the Polo looks not different. This is a Volkswagen Polo L. As you might know, I was born in the GDR, in the east part of Germany, and when the wall was away and my parents could finally get their hands on a Western European four-stroke car, they got gifted early Polo just like that, but it was very, very rusty. It was terrible. But you know what? It is one of my favorite VWs and Audis of all time. I would prefer it over the Golf 1. Always loved this little detail right here. That looks absolutely stunning. It's not the fuel filler flap. That is right there. Or right there, because this is the same car. Lovely steelies. It's all original. Oh, I've just noticed the mud flaps. So let's head over again to the GDR Golf, because cars in East Germany, mud flaps were a mandatory thing. So when VW made the contract for the Golf, for the GDR, they had to give an option for mud flaps. I'm not sure if these were the mud flaps used in the GDR. With the Wolfsburg logo there, it is unlikely. Okay, let's get back to business, because we take a quick look at the Alaska Golfs. So two Golfs, I think these are both diesel, aren't they? Let's check if I'm right, or as so often, if I'm completely wrong. So you know what? I can't tell you. I can't tell you, but we have two Golf LS, and in the year 1974, these two cars drove a test drive that was over 30,000 kilometers long. And there are the cars. It says Härte test. So that was a tough competition for the lovely little good old Golf, and it got a cracked windscreen. I think I've shown you these cars already at the Bremen Classic Motor Show. There's a video on my channel as well. That looks very rally-ish. There we have the early Volkswagen Scirocco. This is also a Giugiaro design, and I think it was available before there was the Golf 1. Even it's based on the Golf 1. The color of this, I think I don't need any words. Just check out the interior. Tartan seats, color matching. The steelies look absolutely fine. Then we have another one, a green one with rectangular headlights. I'd prefer the double headlight variant. And then we have another one, a red one, also a very early example. And also here, red tartan color matching seats. I'm a Scirocco fan, so I do love the one, and I do love the Mark II. So there was not only the Volkswagen Polo, there was a Jetta-ish version of the Polo, and that was the Volkswagen Derby. There we have a early Derby, and just like the Polo, the Derby got a facelift after some years and got a more pronounced grille. Some more Volkswagens, and that is an interesting contrast, because we all know the Golf was the savior for Volkswagen from an era where Volkswagen had the engine at the back, just like this 1600L variant, the estate version of the Type 3. There we have a Carmen Ghia. This is the Type 34, the cooler looking brother to the Type 14. Particularly interesting is this Carmen Ghia TC. You might never have seen it because this was a Brazilian built car, built by Carman, but not Carman Osnabrück. That was Carman do Brazil. So the Carmen Ghia TC. Let's have a look at the back of it. Of course, it is rear-engined. As far as I know, it's a Giugiaro design as well. So there we have the TC badge and the Carmen Ghia badge, and as said, it's a rear-engined coupe. So you know that Volkswagen do Brazil made many interesting cars. And the most interesting, of course, is the SB2, and I'd say this is in the lineage of the SB2. So another Carmen Ghia. There we have a Lancia Y. And this is a Porsche version, black outside, beige leather inside. And you know, you've all have seen the pictures of that new Lancia Y. I just wonder why they didn't use some of the design elements of some older Lancia Ys. Who knows? Volvo 960 or S90. So this is still a 960 and a C126 coupe that is attracting a lot of people. Now we are at two R107 series Mercs, and these two are obviously US spec cars, and it's easy to see because of, just have a look at these super large bumpers, double headlights. Then we have a little red driving light here in the rear light cluster, massive rear bumper, brake light there at the bonnet, and we have two different types of brake lights. There we have a whole different one. I'm one of the few who actually like the US spec, and I always love when these cars are not converted to Euro spec, because I think it's cool looking. This is the 560, and the 560 version was never available on the European market as far as I know. By the way, the very early US market cars had sealed beam headlights, but the smaller bumper layout. Some more Mercs, 280 SE, then we have a lovely Fintail, a 200W110, and then we have this. And this is a very cool looking XJS, and not any XJS, just have a look at the back, because it's looking very, very different. This is a Arden coupe made by the Arden company. Well, I guess, honestly, I'm not entirely sure. And it kind of suits the car very well. It gives me some XJSC vibes. Very cool. If you need a land yacht, you can buy one right here. This is a older and absolutely massive Lincoln Town Roof featuring a massive, well, it's not vinyl, some sort of cloth, and it's just parked beside one of my favorite American cars, and that is the Chrysler LeBaron. This is a turbo GTC. Way too many people today. One of my favorite details are these almost pop-up headlights. They do not pop up. They have a lovely 116 and a massive Mercedes 600, the Grosser. This is a US spec car, as you can see from all the lights here at the car. Another R129, lovely 250C. We have a Jeep, an old Merc 36D that was based on a Hanomag design, and then we have this very orange W123 series Merc on Penta wheels with a rear spoiler. There it is. Not a good fit, if you ask me. Audi 100 Coupe, a Lamborghini. This is a Maserati Grand Sport Spider. And then we have this. It looks terrible. It's a Gatsby, built in 1982, but it has one detail that is taken from my MG Midget, and that is this whole section. So the windscreen and the door are taken from a MG Midget, just like Panther did with one of their cars. Here we have a G1 G500 convertible with a strange little window here in the, is it a B pillar? I don't know. Of course, it is a V8 with a short wheelbase, and this is a electric roof mechanism. Lovely Alfa Giulietta TI, track ready, a large Wagoneer. But I wanted to show you this. We have another pre-merger Merc. This is a 500 SEL AMG in a lovely blue color. And because pre-merger, we have AMG Penta wheels, a subtle spoiler there at the back. I think blue suits the car exceptionally well. Inside, Recaros at the front and at the back, AMG steering wheel. It does have not a blacked out grille. It's painted in the blue color of the whole car. Let's have a look at this super interesting Range Rover. This Range Rover is very special because just like the Citroën 6 Prestige I showed you in part 1 of the video, This was also a car of Erich Honecker, the boss of it all in East Germany in the GDR. This was a car he used for hunting. It is a Range Rover, and the conversion was made by Romic. Romic was famous for VW bodies and was based in Berlin. So the cars were bought and brought over to Berlin and converted in an interesting way. So you can't find any Land Rover or Range Rover or British Steel or whatever badge on this car. So, and that was because the general public should not know that the man of it all was using a car from Western Europe. So he was not using a humble Lada Niva for hunting. Of course, he was using this awesome looking Range Rover. So long wheelbase. Let's have a quick peep inside. Exceptionally interesting. Always wanted to see that. Also here, no Range Rover logos. Of course, there never was a Land Rover logo. It's a long day and I'm already struggling with almost everything. So this is the Erich Honecker hunting Range Rover, built in 1985. It's for sale, POA, guys. Okay, let's talk about probably my favorite car on the exhibition. We are at the BMW display, and they brought a car you've never seen because BMW never showed it. So what is it? You might think at first glance this is a E38, but it isn't. And when you look at it, let's take a quick look at the other side. It is much, much larger, and you might have noticed that very long and large bonnet, and that is because it does not have a V12 but a V16 engine. So this car started life in the development of the E38, and the idea was to make a luxurious car that is larger and even more luxurious than the 7 Series, and that has a V16 engine. The design came from an Australian chap called Boyke Boyer. He was part of many BMW projects, for example the E36 and more. This is a whole new development. Every part of this car was just developed for this prototype. It was actually a rolling prototype. It isn't today, unfortunately, and it had quite a lot of interesting features. So I already said it has a 6.7, I guess, a V16 engine with 348 horsepower, all sorts of kit inside. I may gonna show you some pictures and some footage of the engine and the interior now. So yeah, this was aimed at the Rolls Royces and yeah, luxurious limousines like that. I mean, imagine the W140. That was a large and massive car, especially when you compare it to the E38. You might have heard the name Goldfish. The Goldfish was a engineering bed for the V16 based on the E32. But because the V16 was so large, they needed a new prototype with enough place for a radiator. So it has the radiator right in the front. The Goldfish prototype based on the E32 had the whole radiator and cooling parts somewhere in the back of the car. As you can see, people try to get a glimpse of the interior. What a fantastic and super interesting prototype. So there is the 3.3 E9, right? E9 with the long wheelbase. There we have two E9 coupes, a 2.8 CS and a 3.0 CSL with this lovely spoiler there at the back. Then we have another Alpina B7 Turbo, and this actually has all the Alpina Lametta. You want E28 series. Quick look at the front headlight wipers. What else? Then we have is it a E34? It's a 525i Touring. Later examples got the larger kidney grille from the V8 models. Then we have a BMW 850, and there's another one with the M badge, Alpina wheels, bright yellow color, and a rear spoiler. There it is. 850 CSI. I drove a 850 CS somewhere last year. That was interesting. I mean, for a V12, it was also a little bit unspectacular. BMW 02 series, and this is the Touring. This is by far my favorite of all the 02s. What a brilliant looking car that is. With the round rear lights. There we have the 2000 Touring badge. Lovely. We have a X5. Really unexpected for me. And then we have a Bauer TC. I've shown you a four-door Bauer TC earlier that was based on the E30 series, and there we have the original production two-door E30 series Bauer TC. TC for top cabriolet. Then we have a E36 M3 compact. And a E36 series coupe. This is a 328. There we have the Z8 MotoGP safety car with the works hardtop, and I think the hardtop looks amazing. Just have a look at the rear window, how it is set into this hardtop construction. It is accompanied by a regular Z8. There you go. You know, that blue color suits this car very well. The spiritual successor to the MGB GT. This is the Z3 Coupe. It's one of my favorite BMWs. Looks absolutely fantastic. I think the convertible is a little bit more boring. Just compare these two. So it is definitely this for me. Then we have a Z1 Roadster with a sliding door. What else? A yummy B7 6 Series. This is another Alpina variant of a brilliant looking car. Again, it's a Paul Bracq design, and it is one of the best looking BMWs ever. And it had a very, very long production span. There we have another super rare car, and this is the Alfa Sei, the Alfa 6. This was, by the way, the first Alfa Romeo featuring the V6 Busso engine, and what a magnificent engine that is. So the Alpha 6 Bertoni design, and you know what? Just have a look at the C pillar here, and that is, you know, it's the Bertoni B. So there is the Alpha 6 badge, the injection badge as well, cloth interior, manual gearbox, and you know, it's a later car because it has the rectangular headlights. I think the first series had double round headlights. Lovely Fiat 238 van, and a interesting looking, oh, it's the Outlaw, this Alfa Romeo GTV. So the whole show is dominated by the Mercedes-Benzes, the BMWs, the Bentley, and you know, there is this corner, and in this corner no one is looking at it. There is a tiny 1999 Suzuki Alto. It has, just have a look at this, 351 kilometers on the odo, and nothing special here, but I enjoy it a lot. Just have a look at this funky 1990s interior. So this is the Suzuki Alto, and you know what? No one is even taking a quick look at this lovely, maybe a little bit boring, but also a little bit interesting car. So hey, thanks for bringing this. I like it, but I'm not buying it. But I'm not buying this either. Okay, also super interesting. A long wheelbase Merc Fintail. So this is a W111 long wheelbase, and this was used as some sort of taxi in Sweden. Ledig and trafikbil. Ledig means no one's in it. So this was used for a private school, and this is a 1966 car. And it's also one of my favorites here at the show. There we have a SLC 350 on very, very questionable wheels, and another BMW E30. Here we have a car that was born as the Glass Coupe, but then BMW took over German company Glass, and so the BMW, I think it is a 1700. Let's see if I'm right, and you know, I'm an expert, and I'm not right because it's a 1600 GT. Excuse me guys, it's a lovely Pietro Frua design, and it was the smaller brother of the lovely Glass V8. And on my channel there is a video where I drive a Glass V8. Alfa Romeo 6C, and this is the sedan version of it. I've only seen the coupe version of this car, and now it's the first time to see the sedan right-hand drive, just like many Italian cars from that era. One of my favorite details is the design of these headlamps. And this car is absolutely massive. Just have a look at these massive Firestone white walls on black steelies. Impressive, super interesting car. Pininfarina. Here we have some Opel cars with a lot of racing pedigree. We start with this Opel Manta 400 race car. And there we have the Opel Ascona B400 race car. And now let's forget the Opels and let's go to a exciting Ford, and that is the Ford Sierra RS Cosworth. And what's so typical for a RS Cosworth is this massive rear wing. Besides that, it's a rather unusual design, at least for me. So this is the 3-door variant with this massive door here and this massive rear window. There was the XR4i that looked very different, especially here at the window section. I think the XR4i is the better looking car. Yet I do have a soft spot for all the early Ford Sierras because I think these are just great. Quick look inside. 3-spoke, sporty steering wheel, of course. 5 on the floor. Electric windows, Reccaros. And you know what? We talk about 80,000 euros. Some minutes ago I was talking about glass and BMW. So there we have the glass 1700 GT convertible, and there we have the BMW 1600 GT. So it is basically the same design that Frua made for the glass. We have another Auto Touring, and then we have this very interesting 2002. And just for a look at the double headlights. So what this is a 2002 Ti Diana, and that was a limited luxurious variant of the 02. So, well, it has this different look at the front, and then it has, of course, alloys, leather interior, wooden steering wheel. And you know what? I think this double headlight grille looks very, very good. It suits the car really quite excellent. So imagine you are a car company and you're almost broke with little money in your pockets. What car you need is a hypercar or a supercar. And that was the decision MG Rover took almost at the end of its life. This is the MG SV, and the SV is based on a car called the Quail or Quale Mangusta. And that was a leftover of what was the Di Tommaso Mangusta. An interesting story in itself, but if you look at it, it was a smart decision. So MG Rover already used the 4.6 V8 sourced from a Ford Mustang, and that was inside the Quail Mangusta. So they took over the whole operation, gave the car a new look, and the MG SV or the X-Power or whatever was born. And it's a brilliant looking car. When you see the Mangusta, it has this same line here at the window. By the way, this is a super rare left-hand drive car. Almost 100,000 euros. I think it's utterly cool. Built in Turin and somewhere in the Midlands. It has a very complicated production process. By the way, Fiat Punto headlights, and the rear lights are also taken from I think from a Fiat Coupe. Massive rear wing, and this is probably the only modern supercar I really like. But also because I'm an MG guy. I do have an MG, and this is one of my dream MGs ever. What a fantastic swan song for the company that was born in Abingdon many years ago. Time for some awards. So I'm waiting for my name for the award of utter incompetence. I've almost missed this car, so it looks like a DS, but it isn't. Just have a look from the side profile, and what you see is a DS Coupe. And Guys, it's not made by a Chaperon, and it's not looking like a Chaperon. This is a Frua prototype. Looks very, very interesting. Panoramic rear window. Just have a look at the chevron. That's a very cool detail of this car. So this was built somewhere in 1963, and this is maybe the only surviving of all the 13 that were made of it. So it's proper coachwork by Pietro Frua. This is my favorite detail. It's almost a fintail look. Let's head over to the Audi Club display, which is packed with people. Lovely NSU Prince 1000. Another one with the rectangular headlights. Then we have the iconic TT. Another Audi 50 cherishing its 50th birthday. Let's take a quick walk around the car that we learned is a lovely looking Marcello Gandini design. There we have the, what is it, the 60, isn't it? I think, let's check that out. Let's check that out, because usually I'm wrong, and again I'm wrong. It's a 75. I'm an idiot, but that's why I've got the award. So, lovely Audi 75L. But I think more interesting is the early Audi 100. Why is it a Audi 100? Well, because they needed a number, and that was the 100. The early 100 has a super interesting history involving Mercedes-Benz. Autoneum was in the ownership of Mercedes-Benz for some years, and this was some sort of a secret development that took place when Volkswagen bought Autoneum from Mercedes-Benz, actually to get production capacities for their rear-wheel drive. So folks at Autoneum, ex-Mercedes-Benz, made sure that this car survived, and it ended up as the first Audi 100. And I've said that in other videos. Always when I see a early 100, just imagine this with a Mercedes-Benz grille. So it looks very much like a Mercedes. When you look at the doors, even the interior. There we have the 100 Coupe. Seen plenty of these at the show here. There we have a Audi 80, and I think this was the first Giugiaro-styled car out of the Volkswagen universe that actually predates the Golf. There we have a later Audi 80, but I want to show you this stunning Audi V8. Way too much people. Guys, I'm sorry, but hey, just have a look. Enjoy the second is already over. Enjoy the second now. There we have the Audi V8. Audi's attempt to take a foot into the executive market. That wasn't very successful. Way more successful was the A8. And I think the early A8 is a fantastic looking car, just as the Volkswagen Phaeton is. Isn't that cool? And especially with the 4.2 liter V8. Do you like large Audis? Do you like the A8? Do you like the Volkswagen Phaeton? Let me know in that funky comment section here. By the way, it's on old German DIN plates, which is cool. There we have another R129. So, is the 0 or is it US spec? And again, it is a US spec car that is halfway converted. It still has the, I think it's a hand-painted coach line, but everything else is removed. But you know what? It's a 560 SL. So it is just a US spec car. Leave it like it is, guys. I've seen an interesting Land Rover. That is right there. It's an early Land Rover Discovery that has the famous camel trophy livery. So if you're over 35 or over 40, you may know what the camel trophy was. So first of all, if you like to have a smoke, then you know what a camel is. And the camel trophy was it a endurance trail race, something like that. This is one of the original cars that was used for this event. The Disco, very interesting car. By the way, the Land Rover Discovery, the Mark I, was also available with a Honda badge on the Japanese market. And I do like the Disco. I'm a fan of the Land Rover Discovery. Guys, I see a large Union Jack. So that means there are British cars. And you know, I love British cars and I love Jensen. And already last year I was at the Jensen Club display and it was super nice, and I could show you a Jensen Interceptor inside and outside. Check the video from the Techno Classica from last year. What we have now is a Jensen 541R. This is one of my favorite Jensens. When I say it's one of my favorite Jensens, I'm an idiot, because I love everything Jensen. It looks absolutely fantastic with this panoramic roof. It's a 1958 car, and the first owner was Freddie March himself, the owner of what is Goodwood. Interesting car. Body was made of glass fiber. The doors are made of aluminium. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's take a look from the other side, and I was granted to open the doors to show you the interior of the car, and the interior looks amazing. It is patinated. There we have a small rear bench with almost no legroom. Let's close the door and enjoy the sound of the closing door of a very, very old car. I love the air intake of it. That looks absolutely brilliant. And now the big moment. Let's have a quick joyride in a Jensen. That is super, super lovely. So the steering wheel is slightly offset, and it's a large one. What do we have? We have a four on the floor right here. There we have the, I think this is the heater unit. All the different wipers, all the different levers and buttons. So something petrol. This is for the wipers, fog lights, I guess. Lovely Jaeger gauges, a Jaeger speedometer, but the tachometer is Smith's. It looks almost the same like I have in my MG Midget. It is a very, very lovely cabin. We have a glove box. This is the bonnet release. And then we have a tiny little ashtray for your cigar right now. So manual windows, of course, and this is how to open the doors. There we have all the pedals, the handbrakes right there. And it is not much room for the legs, but it is okay. It is completely okay. It feels very, very good. Like this car a lot. So let's get outside of it and let's close the aluminium door of it. It sounds absolutely nice. Okay, imagine you're on the road with your Jensen 541R and there's a mishap. You have to open the bonnet. How to do that? It's an amazing process because there you have these screws. So they are locked in right here, and then you use that screw and lock the bonnet. And you have it on that side and on that side, and this is how you actually open and close the bonnet of this fantastic looking car. Just have a look at this detail, this little lights there on the fenders. We have another interesting Jensen, and that is the Jensen GT. Another thing I learned today, this is not a Jensen Healey GT. When it's a GT, it's only a GT. When it's the convertible version, then it is the Jensen Healey. It's a fantastic looking car, also because I love the shooting brake. The shooting brake is the best body style of all. So we have a glass rear hatch, just like the Reliant Scimitar, with a very similar layout for the rear wiper. There we have the Jensen logo, right-hand drive car with a sunroof. It looks factory fitted, but I'm not sure. Chaps here at the display were so nice to check all the documents. Couldn't find anything about it. Super cool car, and the coolest we all know is of course the Jensen Interceptor. This is the Interceptor 3. Guys at the Jensen Club display, please excuse me when I'm wrong, but I think this has the 7.2 liter Chrysler in it, right? It is one of the best looking cars I know, with a design history including names such as Touring and Vignale. This was, I think, by the time, the largest piece of glass made for a car. So there was a four-wheel drive variant, but that was not an Interceptor. It looked almost the same. The front end looked a bit different, and that was the FF. And I think already this was available with four-wheel drive. Or am I wrong? I may will correct myself in order to fight for the award of a lot of incompetence. So what a lovely display. It's always a treat here to come to the Jensen Club display. So now we are outside finally, because it was raining cats and dogs the whole day, and now we are at the sales section outside of the fair, and of course we take a look around. Start with a Audi 100 Coupe, and then we have this very rare Volkswagen Passat. It's a Synchro GT, so this is the four-wheel drive variant of the Passat. Then we have a Mercedes-Benz R107 SL. This is a 560, halfway converted back to Eurospec. Lovely DS's. Then we have a Ford Granada Tourneur, the Estate, in a dark red color, just beside one of my favorite of the Type 4 cars, and that is the Alfa 164 with the Pininfarina design. This is the 2.0 twin spark, Renault 4, Golf convertible, and a Opel Monza. It's a GSE and it is already sold. Pagoda, there's a red 190, and now some important people are joining the show. Lovely Mini. This is the silver bullet variant. They have a 240 GD, early G model. C124 coupe with velour seats. 280 SLC. 230 CI, white with the contrasting Sacco planks. There we have the S124 estate version. MGB GT V8 in the second best, if not the best color available. I think I've said yesterday, I already said that I've seen a car in the best MGB color, but I think it's Tundra Green. And it has the best V8 engine ever. 26,500. We have a beefed up MX-5 Miata. Just have a look at the massive fender extensions. Some Porsches, but in good old petrol punks fashion, we just skip that. Head over to a 123 series with yellow fog lights. So it's probably a car that comes from France. There we have another very basic 200 carbureted version of it. There's another R129 SL. It's a 324 featuring its lovely looking hardtop. Modern Maybach. And there is some more Mercedes-Benz action going on. Another 560 SL with a halfway conversion. So it's, you know what, it's clearly a new spec car. So just leave it your spec. Guys, please. It is not that terrible. And I know that almost 90% will disagree with me. More 124s, US spec 129, W201 2.0, and a early 500 SEC C126 coupe. Some say this is the jack of all trades in classic car world, and I may agree on that. Pagoda, ooh, why? Please tell me why. I don't get it. I think I say goodbye. This was the second part of my Techno Classica walk around. You're welcome to leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram, petrolpunks.com, and also if you're German speaking, I do a podcast called the Motorkultur Podcast, and we have a special episode about the Techno Classica here in Essen. And with that all being said, I think it is time to go. Bye bye, guys.
Jetzt raus.